go.
Welcome to another edition of the Caregivers Network podcast, the place where family and caregivers come together to learn, grow, and get supported. I'm Reggie Cunningham,
And I'm Marlon Phillips.
and each week we explore personal experiences to help us navigate and deal with the challenges of caregiving with confidence.
And whether you're supporting a loved one or working on the front lines, we stand with you all the time. And today, our guest is Tyrone Thomas, who's gotten into caregiving by taking care of his 84-year-old plus mother. Welcome,
Yes.
Tyrone.
Listen, thank you so much. I'm trying to get this by. Here we go. Welcome, gentlemen.
Oh man, it's a pleasure having you on, man.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah.
I know it's this is all brand new to you. With what the last couple of weeks is it that you've been dealing
Yeah.
with being a caregiver?
It has been a brand new learning experience because I was actually thrown into this. There was no warning signs or anything like that. It was just it happened suddenly. I was in Virginia. We had to go to the hospital and do some things. My mother was there. And ever since then,
So, Ty, why don't you tell them a little bit about what happened and where you were and what transpired?
so what happened was we were at a funeral for a friend,
Yeah.
and I was sitting beside my mom, and I thought she was sleeping. So the lady beside her said, "Let her sleep," because we've been driving and everything. So, but as I thought that she was sleeping, her head kept dropping lower and lower and lower. And about that time, the funeral was over. So when I touched her to wake her up, I noticed that she was dizzy, trembling a little bit. And when she tried to stand up, she couldn't do that. So we sat her back down, and she was dizzy. So she laid down on the chairs. After that, a nurse came. Somebody called 911. We had the ambulance come and get her, take her to the hospital. And that was October 3rd. I've been with her ever since.
Congratulations.
Yeah, basically, I moved in,
Good,
and
good.
I cook every day, and we do it. I mean, I'm here all the time. And life is different now. My
Mhm.
social life is zero, but my mama's life is 150.
Congratulations.
I know how
So
you feel.
we wanted to just ask, because both Reggie and I've experienced it, and Reggie takes care of a special needs daughter, so you two are in it every day.
Yeah.
So I know it's relatively new, but kind of explain what a day is for you now. I know you took her to the hospital today, and yeah, Reggie
Yeah.
does the same routine. He has a routine with his daughter as well.
Yeah. So basically, what's going on is I have gotten into a schedule with her, and I had to find out what doctors, where. When I was at the hospital, they asked me what kind of medications she was on, and I didn't know. So I had to learn the medications, I had to learn the dosage, I had to write it down. I mean, I've done all of that, and there's still a lot more to do because it's ongoing.
Hmm.
And so we went to the doctors today, and we went to one yesterday. So I'm actually just getting back home from going to get the things copied. The other thing is I had to set up my computer system here. I bought my laptop. I got another monitor. I had to get my keyboards. Okay, so I had to get clothes. I had to this. My whole life has changed.
Hmm.
You're a caregiver now.
I am. I'm definitely that. And then I got my computer system down here so I could work, so I could telework. But what happened was when I went to print, I found out that the printer didn't work. The printer didn't work, and then all of a sudden the HVAC system went out. So I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with work. I got to get a computer down here. I got to get the HVAC system fixed. And right now, you have to say things more than once because the questions are coming and they come all the time. Her memory is real short. So the other thing is you have to keep your eye on my mother because my mother is a busybody. So, I mean, you can go into a room and she'll unplug something and she'll think she's plugging it up, but she's unplugging it. So you gotta, sometimes the best time is when I cook. And once we have dinner, then I give her medicine. Then she says, all right, son, I'm going upstairs. I'm going to bed. Then I'm good. I can relax. Then I come down in the basement and watch TV. But every day is uphill.
So what do you think the doctor's diagnosis was for your mom?
I actually believe that they call it a TIA, I believe, but some form of a stroke.
So the TIA is a minor or mini stroke, I guess.
That's exactly what that is.
Right.
And so you have to keep testing everything, but the damage is the memory loss. And it's like I was saying, she'll ask me, well, what happened at the funeral? Okay, then I'll tell her. Then she'll ask me the same thing 5 minutes later. Well, explain to me what happened at the funeral. Then I'll explain. I've answered that question, I think, 5,000 times. Yesterday, she had a piece of mail and she looked at it and we went through that. And then she put it to the side, then went back and got it and asked me again, what was that about? So this morning when she got the thing, she came over to me. She said, well, what this about? I said, Ma, we went over that at least 5 times yesterday. I'm going to have to come up with a color, whether it's green, blue. And if you see blue on it, it means that we've done that before. And she's still going to ask me. You know what I'm saying? You have to be patient. You know, your patience you will have to get the patience of Job.
Marlon, what's our motto, Marlon?
So our motto is, and we're sharing this with you, you can take it with you, is don't pray for patience, pray for strength.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because through strength, God will give you the ability to deal with your patience. And from the words of my man Reggie, God will test your patience.
Yes.
You are a caregiver. And so you will always get a strength prayer from us to deal with your day-to-day patience.
Yes, and I think that's a good thing. Daily, when you pray in the morning, because I pray every morning, when you pray in the morning, that's something that you should actually pray for because you have no idea what's coming through the day.
Amen. Yes.
You know,
before we go any further, man, let me just ask you, first off, how is your mother now?
Listen, physically, my mother is she's good. Okay, she rakes the leaves. She's out in the yard. She can go up and down the steps, and she does everything physically. It's just her mental capacity is slowing down.
Okay,
and it's slowing down to where I have to actually just deal with it and try to get some systems between us. So. But now, if I tell her, I say, well, listen, you know, I got to go to the studio the Saturday. I'm going to leave you here for a while. And she'll say, well, why don't you leave at this time and then don't go past your house and pick up your mail and go over here and then get to the studio. And before you come home, get something. She can do that.
Right.
But if I take the food out the refrigerator, she said, well, what are you cooking? I said, we're going to do fish and vegetables. 5 minutes later, she said, well, what are you cooking? I said, it's fish and vegetables. 5 minutes later, what is it? Fish and vegetables. The other thing I bought it from Hammaker Smeller is a clock. This clock tells you the day, the time, and the month, and what it tells you every. So when she says, well, what time is it? I said, it's right on the clock. I want to get her in the habit of when she asks herself what time it is to know where to go and look to see that.
Good idea.
Get a habit of that. Okay. So those are some of the positives. You got to get the positives out.
Yeah. Well, let me
not
just
be distracted.
Tyrone, how are you doing mentally and physically? I know this is a big shock to your system. I know it was to me when all of a sudden I lost my wife and I was a single parent.
Man. Sorry to hear that, brother. Sorry to hear that.
So,
physically, I just get tired sometimes. Like today, I've been running most of the time. I'm running, and I was supposed to go boxing this evening because I go 2 times a week, and I haven't been able to go because I need to get my mother set up for that.
Right.
And so today we went to the doctor's, and it was all the way in Rockville, which is a long way away. Then we came all the way back. By the time I got back, I had to go to her other doctor to pick up some forms and bring those back. Then I had to go to a copier because I don't have a printer or a copier. And when I got back and pulled in the driveway, I said, I'm finally home. I'm gonna pour me a glass of champagne and cool out and then go cook dinner. And then Marlon called. And he said, don't forget we got the podcast. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me try to get that done. I'm glad I'm here with you guys. But that's a full day. Now tomorrow is another full day because I got the HVAC people coming.
Right.
And they have a big window between 12 and 5. So at least tomorrow morning I'll be able to get a little bit of sleep.
Right.
But then I have to deal with that. But I also have to get up in the morning to make sure my mother eats and takes her medicine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now I learned that from you, Marlon. Get your mother up, get her food in there. And so it's the other funny thing is I cook something and the salad. First time I did a salad. So I said, well, how you like your salad? She said, you cut the tomatoes up too small.
There you go. Yeah.
I look back over at that bowl, man. That plate was empty. As long as it's empty, I don't care if they're too small. So those are the things that's going on right now.
So how would you say or feel about, having to take care of your mother's business affairs?
That is something that I'm working on. And I think that comes more with her trusting me to do what I need to do for her. And so since this is the first 2 weeks, she's very reluctant to let me establish that groundwork. So her phone was cut off yesterday. Okay, so when I went to help her with it, then she's a little reluctant to let me help. So, but I was able to get through that. And so you need to make a payment.
Right.
She says, well, I want to make 2 payments. So I said, well, listen, they're only asking for 1. And in order to get this thing and get your phone on,
right,
let's pay the 1. And then if you want to pay more, you can contact them because you'll be able to call them. So, she had a lip all lipped up, and when I got finished, okay, then she was like, okay, good. And then I had the mail. So she realized that she hadn't paid some bills. So I said, well, you need some help? No, I can do it. So I let her do that. And so my statement to her was, eventually, I would like for me to go to the mailbox and for me to have the bills, for you to sit right here. We figure out what they are and let me deal with them so you don't have to. And I explained to her, the less you have to do mentally, the better you're going to be. The more you stress yourself out, that's not good. So
well, let me just interject this part, because I tell you what I think it is. When you start assisting them, their mindset is that you are stripping some of my independence.
Yeah.
And they tend to get guarded about things where they think they can take care of them.
Yeah.
But until you build that trust, I'm not
exactly
impinging on your independence, Mom, but I just need to help you better understand what's going on so your phone doesn't get caught. I mean, just conversation like that, or let me look at the mail so I can help you and assist you with maybe something you overlooked, because they definitely feel threatened with the independence. You've been there less than a week. You feed her, you take me to the doctor, and I ain't going to pay my bills. So, you're all up in my business, and it's always been me, just as something to talk about. And I've known your mom for a long time, and she's a very strong and independent woman. So I don't think you're going to get too far.
No, the other thing is, when even though I'm her son and I'm the age that I am, to her, I'm still the baby. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm the mother, you're the son,
Yeah.
and you should be. So and that's why you got to take your time, and in time, I believe, in time she will come to understand exactly what you just pointed out.
Oh
That
yeah.
I'm not trying to do anything against you. I'm all you have. I am your backup,
Yeah.
and she'll
Yeah.
get to that. But it's not going to be. Listen, she asked me if I wanted to go home and spend the night. I said, no, you're not getting rid of me. I mean, I'm here now. I mean, I'm here. There's some things I need to do. I don't have a bed in the basement, but listen, I've slept on floors before, so I can sleep on the sofa until I get to bed.
I hear
I
you.
need to get things in here, but more important than a bed is your health.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so I'm already going to have to leave her a long time Saturday because I got to go to the studio and I already paid for it. So I'm going to let the neighbors, she has two good neighbors on both sides of her. They're both named Zandra.
Oh,
How do you do that? That's God working.
That
That's how
is
that
God's
works.
plan right
That's
there.
God working. So I'll let them know what time I'm leaving and what time I should be back. And they'll probably one will come at one time, the other one will come at another time. Yeah.
okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's good.
I was going to ask you. Go ahead, Reggie.
You're starting to work some things out, and that's good because that's what we all had to do. I
Right.
know Marlon had some challenges, when
Yeah.
he first became the caregiver, and it was thrust upon me like it was thrust upon you, and
Yeah.
I had a whole lot of challenges and still have some challenges. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, you learn to work with what you have, and we move forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think having people to like this um to talk to, and we all understand one point that we had to go through some things that happened to us that we weren't looking for. And Marlon did a wonderful job. I mean, I saw him go from A to Z and go back from A to Z. So I want to congratulate you. I always will because I saw a greatness and a great person. We always been good friends, but what you did for your mom, man, you really did a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I mean,
You
it's
did.
like any one of us here on this call, our moms would do the same thing for us.
Yeah,
And I just want to
exactly.
make a point because you and Reggie have something similar in common that I didn't have. I had mom come live with me, so I was
Yeah,
able to watch, how the dementia set in, and it's just a very debilitating disease. It's not going to get any better.
hmm,
You just have to work with the decline. But you two are in a similar category in that this was just thrown upon you. Reggie
yeah,
with his wife, you with your mom,
yeah,
and I joke all the time, but I mean in dead seriousness, there's nobody on this call or anywhere that's said, back in your college days when you're younger, I'm going to be the caregiver for
yeah,
somebody in my
yeah,
family. That's
yeah,
that's my objective to retire. Nobody
yeah, and
says
yeah, yeah. No,
so.
nobody warned you about this.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point, and that's one of the reasons why. First off, I want to thank you for doing this because you're in the midst of all of this turmoil right now. But when Marlon and I started talking about this, we realized you don't hear about black male caregivers, and even
No,
Yeah,
though we all go through a lot of the same things, um,
yeah,
we decided, we got to share this with amongst one another and with everybody else because every nationality, ethnic group, or whatever
yeah,
has similar issues, and we
yeah,
all have to learn to deal with it.
yeah, yeah.
One of the
I,
things I wanted to ask you, Tyrone, is that, and I probably know the answer to this, but I want to ask you anyway because this is a learning process for everybody else that watches this. Did you and your mother ever talk about this stuff before she had that mini stroke?
No, and because it just happened,
yeah,
there was no conversation. There are conversations now about, and I talked to Marlon about. I'm learning a lot from him in terms of the banking situation, and so I went took care of that. I have to. The next conversation I had with her will be about life insurance.
mhm,
Then there'll be. I need to have the conversations about the will where's your will? I saw her work on that before, with somebody, but step by step, I have to get all of those things in place.
Right.
I don't expect her physically to have a problem, but mentally, and this is something else I learned from Marlon, whom I call Philip. So if you hear me say Phillips, I'm talking about Marlon. But the power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And Marlon told me, he said, power of attorney is good when she's alive, but once she passes, that power of attorney is gone. So those are the kind of things that now where my mom and I are, those are the discussions. Now, at the same time, we'll have that discussion, and I know she'll forget. And I'll tell you, so I take pictures of what I fix for dinner.
Yeah.
So when I show her the pictures, like I'm gonna say taco night, we had taco night. So when I show her the pictures of taco night, she said, "We ate that." I was like, "Yeah, that's you in the picture."
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a long road to travel, but we do talk about some of those things. It wasn't hard for her and I to get to the bank part.
Right.
So it's not going to be hard to do if I find out that she doesn't have any life insurance, I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to get right on that because I expect her to live a long time, but I know I'm going to need to have power of attorney while she's alive.
Right.
Okay. Oh, actually, that was a good point that you said Marlon made, that the power of attorney goes away, once she dies. And I think a lot of us really don't understand that. And it's just something that we need to be aware of. Once she dies, as with all of us, then that obligation goes away and it's something else. So,
and just, God forbid something happened to anybody on his phone, but it is a very cumbersome, stressful process if you don't have some type of paperwork in place, legal paperwork, because I experienced this with my mom and her account. Everything was good until she passed away. But once that happened, all of the paperwork, even though it was in place, it still was a pain in the butt for them to even acknowledge me and everything I had to do, because I was in one state and, she had some banking stuff in Indiana. So, just getting an attorney just to get all of that stuff in place that you thought would be a smooth transition, and it's not. And unfortunately, everybody's got to go through it. So what you do while their person is here will mitigate a lot of the stuff that you have to go through, God forbid, when something happens to them.
That's a good point. And I think the other thing is, I don't know how many guys today are prepared to go through what we've been going through,
or women. I mean, just anybody, not just I
mean, if you think if your mother's real strong and been taking care of you and you're a grown man, you don't have this thought. You're not prepared. And so for us, we're good men. We've been good sons and good husbands. And so, but what happens if you have never treated your mother good, or what happens if you don't know her like we knew ours? And then this kind of information needs to get out, and it ought to get out and get to a lot of people, because right now there's a lot of craziness in the world, and you really don't ever know.
Well, I want to put to Reggie's point. We gonna have a segment about siblings. Now, you are an only child. So other than you and I just rely on each other, and you can call whenever you want. We have a situation. What do you do when you have siblings that have fallen out with their mom or dad? And then you get thrusted into it, or they were the ones taking care of them, and then they get sick, and now they thrust it on you.
Right.
So
I think that what we're doing will actually snowball into something bigger, because there are more people like us out there that don't know where to go to have conversation like this about where they are in their life. The other thing is, if we as a group, when this information gets out, it'll hit people who are not in this situation, and they'll learn from it.
Right.
And so that's
That's our
gotta
objective
be
here.
really big.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention one of the things, since you mentioned power of attorney, because I was thrust into the situation. You might also at some point start to look into a medical power of attorney.
Hmm.
And depending on the cognitive nature of your mother, you may also just have to get guardianship. I knew I had to do that with my daughter because she was legally an adult
Hmm.
Hmm.
when all this happened. And so there are times when I needed to do something medically, and if they asked her and she was in one of her moods and she said no, there was
Right.
no
Right.
legal recourse for me. You
Yeah,
know?
that's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a
and none of her doctors knew me, so I knew I had to go through that step,
Yes.
get through
yeah.
that step, and it actually came up that year. My wife died when she had a seizure, and the
Mhm.
EMT asked her if she wanted to go to the hospital, and I had
Hmm.
already told her no, she didn't want to go because I had asked her already, and she didn't
Right.
want to go, and she told him no. So it just so happens, I had the guardianship papers, but it's still necessary. And sometimes
Yep.
you don't have that paperwork on you all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good.
If it's
That's
not readily available,
a good
that
point.
situation could have gone a whole different direction because they would have took her, or whatever you said would have been contrary to what was the conversation was, and they would have followed her instructions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I
So
just bring that up. So it's something that you might want to consider, Tyrone.
No, listen. When my mouth is closed and my ears are working.
Good.
That's where I am right now. Everything I hear, that first of all, everything I hear, I don't take for granted. I put
Hmm.
action behind it. That's why I got that bank account thing straight, because Marlon told me all about it, and I jumped right on that. So every time you hear something, now I just heard the thing about the power of attorney. I got a cousin that's a lawyer, so I can just reach out to him and say I need to have both of these in place, have him draft up the
there you
paperwork,
go.
get it notarized, and then I'm in.
There you
So I'm
go.
I'm listening to you loud and clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So
Yeah.
and then Marlon can tell you more about this than I can. Since you're going to eventually be handling her finances, you need to make sure that you're on as beneficiary on all those
Yes.
financial institutions, right?
Yeah.
Just in
That's
case.
right. Yeah. And right now, if anything happens, I'm all the money's mine. I
Right.
don't have to go anywhere. That money won't listen. Anything happen, I don't have to worry about the bank. That's the
Okay.
one thing that I got that is in gear. The
Yeah.
next thing I got to get in gear are those things, that I mentioned about the life insurance. I need to get that straightened out. And then step by step, I'll be moving through a whole lot of other things.
Tyrone, you and I talked, and I will share this with Reggie. So when we were talking about, just assisting your mom paying bills and things like that, and her questioning or feel like you're challenging her independence, I want
Hmm.
to say that probably had the girl at the bank not saw the personal attention that you were taking towards your mother,
Yeah.
she might not have been as receptive. Because if the bank people, if they sense that you're taking advantage of a senior citizen,
Right.
they'll intercede in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fact that you told me that the young lady at the bank might have been smitten on you or whatever,
Yeah.
the bottom
Yeah.
line
Lucky me.
is that your mother confided in what the lady at the bank was telling her would be best for her by adding you, to the account.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of toned down the, not trust, but toned down your threatening her independence. So
Yeah.
kind of like one step at a time. Okay, so I got the bank account stuff. Next, we got to get these bills, because it sounds like Momma T don't want to let that go just
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
You know?
That's gonna be a little
So,
slow.
but
But
I mean, just a little bit by little, and
exactly. I believe that is not boulder by boulder, but brick by brick.
Right.
And
Right.
you do brick by brick. And listen, when it's raining, there's no construction. So don't worry about it. The sun will come up tomorrow and you get right back and start putting those bricks down. But eventually you'll have a building and you will have built trust. And that in the long run is going to do a whole lot of good for both her and I. And it'll make her more comfortable when she realizes that I have her back.
Yeah. I think she does now, as with anyone, because my mother, the nurse used to come over and they would try to come up with physical therapy, or occupational therapy, or maybe we need to try a different medication. I'm gonna tell you something about people as they get older. Their eyesight might get bad.
Yeah.
They might move a little slow. Seems like their hearing gets much better.
Yeah.
No, so my mother's laying in bed and the nurse is just tell me some things I try. The first thing I heard myself is, you guys need to include me in conversations about taking care of me. I said, Mom, we got you. We want to make sure we're telling you the right thing. But that's that independence thing. Don't make decisions about me without talking to me. Okay,
Right.
so we're going to change your medication a little bit and have you get out of bed a little bit more. What do you think about that? Oh, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Right. That's right. And that's the one thing about your mom that I when the last time that I saw her, Jack was there, and my mom was there, and we're all upstairs in the room, and we're talking to her. She's glad to see us, and Jack goes over to your mom. He says, how you doing? She said, I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. And Jack said, yeah, I'm losing weight. And your mom was like, yeah, right.
You need to lose about another 50.
And my mother said, you think she ain't sharp, but she's sharper than you think. So I'm telling you, man, this is very good. I don't want to cut y'all off, but it's 6. I need to get upstairs and do some cooking and take care of Mom. We'll do this again, and hopefully I won't be so clumsy.
Well, no, man, you good. So we really appreciate you doing this, and we thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So,
and I'm thanking both of you, and really I gotta thank you for being patient with me because I'm not computer savvy. Okay, that's something that now Marlon is engineer. And he has patience. He knows how to do all of that stuff. And so, you guys, the next time we do it, you get to me a little earlier.
Well, listen,
we'll do it.
I learned a lot of that from Reggie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to say anything. I'll just let it go.
Oh no, I can't take credit for that. I learned a lot about this from you. That's why we meshed together.
Yeah.
Okay. Marlon, you want to close us out, man?
Yeah. So I want to say this has been another edition of Caregivers Network. And if you heard something or you'd like to have a topic to discuss, please, check us out on another episode. If there's a topic you'd like to explore with us in the future, please add it to your comments. And you can also track us at cgn1.org and leave a message request or a comment. Thank you for joining the Caregivers Network.
Amen. Okay, gentlemen, thank you. I'm going to get to work, and I will talk to y'all as soon as we need to talk.
So we forgot our sign off will always be this, Tyrone. And remember to shoot for the moon. And even if you miss, you'll be amongst your stars.
Amen. All right, gentlemen.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Talk to you. All right now.